Homework 9-2 time. It's going to be very fun, a lot of factoring in this, so let's get right to it. Now remember, whenever you don't have a number in front, you're going to take the 36, okay? We're look for two numbers that multiply to be 36 that add to be 12. So we do 36 all over, and we have to figure out what numbers multiply to be 36. So 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 5 doesn't work, 6 works. Okay? And then we're done. And once you start repeating your number, you can stop. So, we're looking for two numbers that are on here that multiply to 36, that add to be 12. And 6 and 6 will be our winner. So, we're going to do our double bubbles. Now, I know the signs are going to be the same because it's positive, and it'll be negative because that's the sign in front of the 12. So they're both going to be negative, and they're both going to be 6s. Okay, let's go down to B. You have x squared minus 8x minus 33. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 33, that subtract to be 8. Okay. So if you need to write it out, 1 times 33. 2 doesn't work, 3 works. 3 times 11. Okay. 4 doesn't work, 5, and then you go through all of them, the only two options we have here. So which ones are going to subtract to be 8, going to be 3 and 11. Okay. So we have x, since the signs, we'll put our double bubbles. Okay. The signs are going to be different. Okay. This one's going to go with the bigger number. So I always put it on the right side because the bigger numbers in this set will always be on the right side. Now I'm going to put a plus sign. And then our final answer is going to be plugged in 3 and 11. Okay. Now take a look at C. C, I have 3x cubed plus 36x squared plus 105x. First thing I got to do is pull out the LCD. Okay. Notice I have 3 divides evenly into each one. The smallest number of x's I have is x. Okay. Sorry, the GCF. I think I said LCD. GCF. So, I'm going to be left with x squared plus with 12x. And this one's going to be 105 divided by 3, which is 35. Okay? So now, this guy's just going to chill. Okay? So we're going to look for two numbers that multiply to be 35 that add to be 12. Okay? And you can write it out like we did here. Or you can, if you can think of it really quickly, it's going to be 5 and 7. Okay? So, we're going to do our double bubbles. Okay? It's going to be the same sign. They're both positive. And then you're done. Now in this one, we're going to be able to pull out a 4, because everything's divisible by 4. Okay. So we'll be left, and then we can't pull out an x because this 120 does not have an x. Okay. So 4 times 4. Wow, sorry guys. 4 on the outside, then we have x squared plus x minus 30. Now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 30, that subtract to be, there's no number in front, so we know it's really like a 1. So, two numbers that multiply to be 30 that subtract to be 1 would be 5 and 6. Okay. So we're going to do our double bubbles. Okay. It's going to be different signs. The bigger one's going to be positive, so we know the 6 is going to be positive. And we know the signs are different, so this one has to be minus. Okay. And then we're finished. Now, the second, number 2, and notice guys, this was all just basically double bubbles. Okay. Okay. Now this one, this is the second day when we were doing weirder factors, just double bubbles with the twist, and this one was the dots, okay? Difference of two squares. So in this case, okay, this is x to the 4th minus 16x squared plus 48. Since we have x to the 4th, and we also have x squared and the constant term, it's going to be a double bubble. But the twist here is that it's going to be x squared instead of x. So, we're going to find two numbers that multiply to be 48 that add to be 16. Okay? This one's a little bit more difficult, but it is going to be 4 and 12. So, we know the signs are going to be the same. They're both going to be negative. Okay, now, here comes the hard part. Making sure that you factor completely. Now, you have x squared minus 12, that's fine. Okay? However, x squared minus 4 is a difference of two squares. So this can break down into x plus 2 and x minus 2. And this one is going to be x squared minus 12. Still. Okay? And then you're done. Okay? Notice, it has to be perfect squares. Okay? And 4 is a perfect square, x squared is a perfect square. In this case, I have x squared minus 12. 12 is not a perfect square. So we could just leave that alone. Okay, now the next one, we're going to be able to factor out a 4x. Okay? So we'll have x to the 4th minus 4x squared minus 5. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 5 that subtract to be 4. Okay? So the 4x is just going to chill on the outside. Okay? And we're going to have our double bubbles, but remember, because it's x to the 4th, it's going to be x squared here. Okay? Now, we need to find two numbers that multiply to be 5 that subtract to be 4, 1 and 5. Okay? The bigger number is going to be negative. Okay? They're different signs, so this can be positive. And we're good. Okay? Now, whenever you see two terms, it's probably going to be the dots. Okay? The difference of two squares. This is going to be a perfect square. It'll be x. This one's going to be 11. So it's going to be x plus 11 and x minus 11. Now, for D, we're going to be able to pull out a 4 to begin with. Okay? And I'm going to be left with x to the 4th minus 16. Both of these guys are perfect squares. This is going to be, an x squared is going to be the square root. Okay? And this one's going to be 4. Okay? Oops. Now, with this, it's going to be two bubbles again. It's going to be x squared this time. Okay? Plus 4. And this is x squared minus 4. And just like in part A, when we had x squared minus 4, we have to break that up. However, we have x squared plus 4. Those two guys are perfect squares, but remember, dot stands for difference of two squares. Okay? So, this is going to become x plus 2 and x minus 2. Okay? Make sure you factor completely. I will try and trick you. Okay, now, in 3, this is going to be our rainbow fun. Okay? So, this is going to be a new method, or not the new method, but this is basically very similar to what we already did. Okay? Stop moving the camera. Okay? So, when you do the rainbow, you have to multiply both the leading number and the constant term. So that gives us 14. So what two numbers multiply to be 14 that add to be 9? So 1 times 14, 2 times 7, and that's really all the factors. These are the only ones that are going to add to be 9. So we're going to do our double bubbles. This may seem a little weird at first, but it always works. Now, they're both going to be the same sign. They're both going to be negative. So it'll be 2 and a 7. Now, the key thing is when you have a leading coefficient, you need to divide by it. You divide the number by 2. 2 divided by 2 becomes 1. 7 divided by 2 does not become a nicer number. You can't reduce it. So what we do is we take this 2, put it in front. Okay? So it'll be 2x minus 7. And if you check this, it does actually work out perfectly to be this. Okay, now in this next problem, we have 3x squared plus 17x plus 10. We're going to multiply these guys, we get 30. So we need to find two numbers that multiply to be 30 that add to be 17. Like I said, I'm not going to write them all out. There'll be 2 and 15. So in this case, we're going to put our double bubbles. They're going to be the same sign because it's positive. The both signs are going to be positive. So 2 plus 15. Now we have to divide by 3. 2 divided by 3 does not simplify at all. The 3 is going to go in the front. So it'll be 3x plus 2. 15 divided by 3 is 5, so it'll be x plus 5. Okay. Now, let's take a look at C. C is a little tricky because 21 times 162 is really big. Big hint though, I got the x cubed, x squared, and x. So I can at least pull out an x. But if you check your numbers, you can actually pull out the GCF. And you need to do that before you do these problems. So, if I put a 3 here, there's actually all these numbers are divisible by 3. So, what I'm going to be left with is 7x squared plus 171 divided by 3, which gives us plus 57 x 162 divided by 3 gives us 54. Now, a little trick with this. When you're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 54, sorry, whoops, we gotta do the rainbow. So 7 times 54 gives us 378. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 378 that subtract to be 57. Okay? Now, with this case, when we have 7 here, the two numbers that multiply to be 378 that subtract to be 57. It's going to take a little bit of work, okay? But it ends up being something nice. It's actually 6 and 63. Okay? You subtract those guys, they're going to be equal to 57. Okay? So, you're going to leave the 3x there. We're going to double bubble this. It'll be x. The signs are different. The bigger is going to get the positive. Okay? So, plus 63 minus 6. Then we have to divide by 7. Okay? The 7 is going to go over here. So 7x minus 6. And 63 divided by 7 is 9. Okay, okay, let's take a look at D. Now we're getting to a little bit more weird territory. We got 6x squared minus 7x minus 24. So do 6 times 24. Okay. When you multiply those together, we get 144. So we need two numbers that multiply to be 144 that subtract to be 7. Okay. And if it's going to take a little bit of work, I'm not 100% sure, so I'm just going to go through some of them. Okay. So 2 times 72. Okay. 3 times 48. Okay. 4 times 144 divided by 4. 36, and as you can see, as you go down, the numbers are going to get closer together. Okay? So I'm going to think it's going to be 8. So 144 divided by 8. 8 and 18. Now we're getting really close. They're 10 away. So it's probably going to be 9. Okay? 144 divided by 9 is 16. Okay? And those subtract to be 7. Okay? If you feel uncomfortable with this, you can always find all of them. Okay? The last one would actually be 12 times 12, so it wouldn't be that bad. Okay? Now, we're going to find, so we know it's going to be an x and x. We're going to do our double bubbles. Okay? It's going to be a subtraction. Okay? The signs are going to be different. Okay? The bigger one's going to be negative, so we put that over here. Okay? The bigger number is 16, so it's going to go with the negative. Then I'm going to go with positive. Always remember, you have to divide by the leading coefficient. So I'm going to divide both of these by 6. Now 9 divided by 6 does not give you a nice number, but you can reduce that to 3 over 2. 16 divided by 6, same thing. It's going to give you, divide both of those by 2, and we get 8 over 3. Okay. Now at this point, you take this 2, put it in front. So 2x plus 3. Okay. Put the 3 in front, so it's 3x minus 8. Okay. Okay, now let's take a look at E. So we're looking for 9 times 10 is 90. Okay. So we need two numbers that multiply to be 90 that add to be 33. I can think right in my head, 3 times 30. Okay. So we know it's going to be x. So the signs are the same, so and they're both going to be negative, so minus 3 and x minus 30. And then we're going to divide both of these by 9. So x minus, 3 divided by 9 is not 3, 1 over 3. 30 divided by 9 is going to be, divide both of them by 3, we get 10 over 3. Now you're going to put the denominator in front of it, so it's going to be 3x minus 1 and 3x minus 10. Okay, now for F, last problem on this first page. 8 times 3 is 24, so we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 24, that subtract to be 10. Okay? So 8, so two numbers that multiply to be 24 that subtract to be 10, 2 and 12. Okay? So, the signs are going to be different, the bigger one's going to be positive. Okay? Whenever the signs are different, I always just advise you to just do the double bubbles, okay? And then put the sign in the right spot. The positive is going to go with the bigger, so I'm going to put that with the 12. Okay? Then the smaller one's going to be minus, and that's going to be a 2. Divide both of them by 8. Okay? So you have x minus 1 over 4, and x plus 3 over 2. Okay? Then we have 4x minus 1. And 2x plus 3. Okay. Yeah, that's the whole front side. So let's go over to the back. Get this one done real quick. Okay, now this one's just actually not that bad of a question. Okay, it's just weirdly worded. That's what we call the word problems. Now we have x squared minus 5x plus 4. Okay. So we're going to factor that. Now, we need two numbers that multiply before that add to be negative 5. Okay? So that would be 1 and 5. Okay? So since they're positive, they're both going to be negative. So it's going to be 1 and 5. Now, the question just asks you find all the possible values for a. That means that a could be equal to, a is the guy right here. It's x plus a. So x minus 1, a could be negative 1. But in addition, a could also be negative 5, because remember, multiplication, you can switch them. Okay? This is the same thing as saying x minus 5 times x minus 1. Okay, okay, now number 5. Okay? Given that x squared plus 10x minus 24 equals x plus a, x plus b, find all the possible values for a. This guy not factored, we're going to factor it. Find two numbers that multiply to be 24 that subtract to be 10. Okay? And that would be 12 and 2. Or 2 and 12. Okay? So, it's going to be x minus 2, x plus 12. Remember, the signs are different. Okay? And they're going to add, and the bigger one's going to be positive. So a could be negative 2. A could also be 12. Now, let's take a look at number 6. The area of a rectangle is represented by 5x squared minus 6x, where x represents the length. In terms of x, what the expression represents the width? So, this is the area. Okay? We know the area is equal to length times width. Well, the length is x. What is the width? Okay? So what we're going to do is just simply divide by x. So w equals we can factor this top guy. Yeah? We can pull out 1x, and we're left with 5x minus 6. Now the x on top and bottom can cancel out, and we're left with w equals 5x minus 6. Okay, now the area of a soccer field is represented by x squared minus 19x plus 90. If the width of the soccer field is represented by x minus 10, what does the length represent in terms of x? So, in this case, what we could do is write out our equation. It's a rectangular field. Okay, so area is equal to length times width again. Okay. The area is x squared minus 19x plus 90. So length is x minus 10. And we're looking for the width. So we're going to divide both sides by x minus 10. Now we can factor this guy over here. So it could be x squared. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 90 that add to be 19. So negative 10 and negative 9. Okay? Now, a little key thing. If you're dividing this and it's supposed to be nice, most likely one of the factors is going to be x minus 10. So we cross that off, and the width is equal to x minus 9. Okay? Now I'll take a look at the last problem. Okay? The area of a parallelogram can be found by multiplying the base times the height. And the area is represented by 6x squared minus 5x plus 1. And we don't know the length. Not the length. I'm sorry, this probably should be changed to the height. Whoops. Okay. The area is equal to the base times height. We're looking for the base. And we know that the width is 3x minus 1. Now, because I have a 6 in front, it's going to be a rainbow. So 6 times 1 is 6. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 6 that add to be 5. So 1 times 6, 2 times 3. So let's factor this guy. So it's going to be, they're both going to be the same sign, they're both negative. It's going to be x minus 2, x minus 3. However, we have to divide by 6. So it's going to be x minus 1 over 3, x minus 1 over 2. Now, put the 2 in front, put the 3 in front. So it's going to be 3x minus 1. 2x minus 1. And now remember, this is just the area. So we need to then put the base in and put the height. So this is going to be 3x minus 1. We're going to divide both sides by 3x minus 1. Cancel it out. The base is equal to 2x minus 1. Don't stress out too much about this last one. Okay? Mostly concentrate on number 6 and number 7. Okay? Well, have a good time with this. See ya. Bye.